Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School, brought to you by our sponsors, VCIO Toolbox and OSR Manage. And speaking of OSR Manage, we've got two of the geniuses over there that are going to lead us through today's discussion.
That's
Tim
right.
and Rob, how you guys doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I got my glasses on, so I've got that genius look. So I'm good.
Exactly. You know, you got a little bit of a college professor vibe working
That's right. I got
today.
the
For
collar
those of you that
going.
are watching on video, Tim's keeping it real, which is good.
Yep.
I've got my default always.
This is good.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do today, I think, is going to be really kind of a fun one for us. We love hearing from you guys, the listeners. We love hearing, where we're helping the cause. We hope we're helping the cause, but it's more fun for us when you challenge us. And we recently had one of our listeners, a guy named Chad, send us in a response, sent it over to Rachel saying, hey, I'm doing everything right in this deal. I've set the right tone, gotten my upfront contracts, if you will, with my customer. But man, now I'm all of a sudden being ghosted. And I've tried every tactic I know of. What can I do? And that sounded like a pretty good conversation for us to have, and probably right in the wheelhouse, especially for you, Tim, right in the wheelhouse of what you guys do and, what you guys teach. So I'm going to be sitting back and listening and learning today too. So I'm excited by it. But maybe, Tim, you can kick us off here and, tell us what your thoughts are, where there was a problem. Now, to set the table for you guys just a little bit further, he's in that first appointment, Chad says he talked to the customer, set up a follow-up date, made sure that they were ready to go there. He did confess to making one mistake, something I know you guys preach to your sales reps to never do, but he said, yep, I will send you the proposal, right? So customer asked him to email the proposal and he agreed to it, but he thought he was gaining contract with the customer again, or at least gaining, control again by saying, in sending you this proposal, we're going to follow up on this date at this time to discuss what I sent to you. And then that seems to be when things went dark for Chad. So I'll throw that over to you, and maybe you guys can take it from there, and maybe even break down right from the beginning if it makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, look, if they set up a next step, what I would say is, yes, sending a proposal by email. Don't do that ever in the history of ever. If you're an MSP, right? If you're an MSP that is, let's just call your traditional MSP, that is your brick and mortar plus 50 to 60 miles. I mean, that's called a spade. That is what most MSPs are. And
there's no alarm set.
Hey Siri. So look, the biggest one of the biggest issues that we ran into when Rob and I were still in the MSP space was that prospect saying, you know what, just really good meeting. You set up the next meeting. You're on the initial discovery call and or technical call. You have enough information to give a proposal. And the prospect says, just send me the proposal. And in your head, you're thinking, yeah, it'll be easier. And then they'll be able to look at it before we go on site. So in theory, it kind of makes sense. But in the real world, what ends up happening is you send out the agreement or the proposal, the prospect looks at it. And whether it's intentional or not, people are drawn to the numbers page, right? So your proposal might be 7 pages long, but if your numbers are on the 7th page, they're going to disregard all of the words. They're going to go right to the number, and they're not going to understand it in context. So I would say in this case, one mistake that it's kind of just something to shy away from is never send it by email. Always give it to them in person. That way you can go over page by page what the proposal is, what the value is. You never want to focus on the dollars and cents. You always want to focus on the value, which we've talked about that quite a bit on here over the last year and a half. If you can hand deliver that proposal and go over it in person with the prospect, that is going to be one of the best ways to move that ball forward. So in this case, I would say it's hard to get back from that. It is, but that's where you've got to kind of go back into hunting mode and get that person to sit down with you again and almost reset that appointment to, in a lot of ways, have a new discovery call, which sounds crazy, but it's kind of true as well. So Rob, what do you think?
So in going back and forth with email with him, the things that I liked were he was speaking to the decision maker, right? He got a due date out of it while he was at the meeting. So the decision maker got a due date and he budget tested. Those are the three things that are critical when you're leaving a meeting that you have to have. What I didn't like about what he said was, he was going to email the proposal. When you email a proposal, you lose complete control of the value proposition that you're discussing. Because what's the number one thing that every prospect goes to when they see a proposal? Back page price, period. Right? So you lose the value proposition, you become a commodity, and then you go down that commodity death spiral. So I didn't like that. And then I didn't like that he said it was a standard proposal. To me, it made it sound like it was just the run-of-the-mill thing that he was trying to do, and he didn't demonstrate his necessary value over and above what anybody else could have offered out there. So it seemed cookie cutter to me when he was saying that. So one of the things that I would say is making sure that you are presenting a value, a customized value in their opinion, that you're offering. And then the last thing that, I think that they need to work on is the prospect said that it all makes sense. To me, that is a red flag on why he got ghosted. There was no challenge. There was nothing that made the prospect go, huh? Right? If it seemed like it all made sense, then you were just saying the exact same thing that the other two vendors said right before you. So, I mean, Brian, you've heard this many times before. Yeah. If somebody comes at you and says, yep, it all sounds great, that's a danger warning sign, right?
Well, look, I always litmus test things when I'm in a sales call by a few different things. If they don't ask you questions, they don't care. Period. In a conversation.
Yeah.
If they say everything's great, they're not doing it with acceptance. They're doing it to move the meeting along. Right. And then the third thing is we sell solutions in the MSP space. Theoretically, all proposals should be somewhat different unless we're just doing a straight up product sale, right? In terms of what they are. And that's what the customer doesn't understand in the email transaction, right? So again, whether right or wrong, this was the way I approached it when I was service selling only. And, I would say, look, we need to schedule time to go through the proposal. Reason we need to schedule time rather than me emailing it is you're going to see different ways that different companies approach this problem. And we want to make sure that we can walk you through how we arrived at the solution we are, why we feel it's the right solution for you, and then go over pricing. Then at that stage, we can determine based on the scope and need if we hit the mark and adjust pricing there. Because if I just email it to you, and I would be open with customers about this as well. If I email it to you, I may be higher than the other guy, but I also might be higher than the other guy because I'm giving you more than the other guy was going to give for you. And you may tell me I'm not ready for that, but I want this. And now I'm right back in line. So, again, that's why we call it solution providing, right? Because we're providing the solution as we interpret it. And then we're presenting it to the customer so they can determine what's the right path for them. So I never liked emailing it. And honestly, just what you were talking about, Rob, I felt like when somebody asked me to email it, I was already out. It was the same as everything's great, or I don't have any questions.
I got a question, Timmy. This question is for you, man. If somebody said to you back in the day, if somebody said to you, just email me over a proposal, what did you do? Like, how did you wiggle out of that one?
Depending on what stage, right? You get that odd cold call where somebody was like, yeah, just send me a proposal. And it didn't happen much. We'd be like, yeah, okay, but it's not the way we work. So
and you almost never win those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about literally in the cold call stage. So like just happen to get a decision maker. Just send me a proposal. Like, no, you have no idea what we do. So no. But if we went to a discovery call or we, left a technical meeting and I will say it's pretty rare that somebody after a technical meeting will say, you know what, just email me a proposal. But on the odd chance it does happen, we were really open, and we would just tell them, like, look, the MSP that Rob and I used to work at, we knew 8 to 9 out of 10 times when we walked into a prospect who was working with an MSP, we were more expensive, just flat out, just period, end of story. So we didn't really hide from it, but we didn't flaunt it, but we didn't hide from it. But when somebody would ask us if you could just email us a proposal, we would just say, look, we are so focused on value that we just don't feel like it would do you justice to see our proposal in an email. Like, some of the numbers that we sent you may be very different than what you've seen in the past, but the reality is there's a reason for it, and it will only make sense if we can sit with you and explain it in person. So for that reason, we just don't email proposals. So like, when can you sit down? When would be a good time for you to sit down and spend 30 or 45 minutes with us so that we can talk to you about the value that we bring to the table? That's kind of how I used to do it.
Yeah, and you're right back to if they don't have time for it, you were never in the game anyway. So good. You
Exactly.
just found out the other side of the answer and you can move on with your life, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's move to the next mistake that we had, right? So, email quote went out, and actually not a mistake, but they set up this follow-up check-in call. And sure enough, when Chad went to make that check-in, nobody was on the other side of the line.
Yeah.
So, what have you guys done as tactics when that person starts ghosting you?
So on my side, the thing that he did wrong there was he did it backwards. If you have to have a check-in call before the proposal meeting, that's fine. You can do a phone call check-in to tell them where you are in the proposal status, right? If it's a complex proposal and it's going to take you 10 business days to do this complex proposal, you can have a check-in call at day 5. This is where we're at. These are the things that we're doing. And I just wanted to get your feedback, let you guys know what we're doing. And it's just like one more step in the cycle. So I'm okay with having a check-in call before you deliver the proposal. That's good. Right. But trying to deliver a proposal and then following up on that proposal with a call, that's bad, right? That you're never going to win that battle because they already have all the goods. You have no leverage, right? You've already given the proposal. They don't need you anymore. So one of the things that I do, if you were to get stuck in this position of you had to send the email proposal and then you had a check-in call and you made this mistake and here you are. You try and call, right? And then you get stuck. They ghost you. After that call, I would follow it up with an email, obviously, right? And that email would be, to follow up on the proposal, and it would be a continuation or a forward of the proposal that I sent. So that would be step 1. Step 2, after that, then I would put them on a 1 to 3 day calling cadence to try and get them on the phone until they get to the last stage, and Timmy's famous last stage email to do it, because at that point, if they're ghosting you after they already have the information, you're kind of out, right? You're done. But then you can try and be cheeky like Timmy used to be.
Yeah, we used to send so 2 emails that I would send. One would be, admittedly, this one was more in the prospecting stage when I was trying to get somebody to first appointment. It would be basically like, hey, just trying to float the line of being persistent but not annoying. If I'm on the wrong side of that line, let me know. And people would kind of respect that, and probably there's a higher return rate on that. But when I was chasing down people, when it came specifically to proposals, I had a white flag email that I may have talked about it on here in the past once or twice, but it's kind of funny. This vendor tried getting me. I don't remember what it was. It tried getting me with this white flag email. Basically, hey, I've been trying to reach out to you. Literally, the picture of a white flag. Been trying to reach out to you X amount of times or X amount of weeks, months, whatever. I'm raising the white flag. I'm just trying to find out if you're still interested. If you could just respond and let me know if now's not the right time, or if you're interested at some point, just let me know. Admittedly, I didn't respond to that guy, but I did steal his email. And it does work. It does work. When people see that, it's just funny enough. It's like aggressive, but in a funny way. And people look at it, they kind of smile and they're like, all right. And most of the time people will respond and say either, look, it's just on the back burner. We're not doing it right now. We want with somebody else, or you know what, let's sit down.
You know, that is my favorite closing strategy in life. The breakup letter, probably because so many people broke up with me in life. But the breakup letter, man, you know, I love getting to that point in the deal, because you know what? I call it fill or kill, right? I either want in or out.
Fill or kill.
And if we have gotten to that stage where I've chased you and I've chased you and I've chased you and it doesn't work. Now, sometimes you get somebody that just says, hey, I'm sorry, I've seen all your emails. We're behind schedule. Great. That's all I need to know. When should we set the stake in the ground, right? But I love the fill or kill, because you know what? If you get no reply to that, you know.
Yeah, totally.
You're dead. Why waste another cycle on it, right? Go find somebody that wants to buy.
Yeah, follow up in 6 months.
I got an email that I've saved for a long time, and I'm going to read it to you now. You know, good morning, that kind of thing, and then it goes right into it. Hey, we haven't heard anything? Question mark. Usually that means you decided to move in a different direction. Something has changed, or maybe somebody got sick and the project has been delayed. Either way, we sure would like an update on your end. Thank you. Short, to the point. Sweet. You know, and just, you know, I liked it. You know, like it. I responded back immediately, because, you know, I did owe him something, right? And so, you know, like it does, you can be kind of aggressive. Like this email is kind of aggressive, right? You know, what's the problem here? You said you were going to get back to me and you haven't. What I would not do is just do the same thing over and over and over and over. There has to be a deadline at your end, and then restart it up in a few months, right?
Sorry, and I was just going to say, in this scenario, when you're trying to re-engage somebody, at some point, if that prospect goes dark, you do have to send that short, aggressive email that it needs to be aggressive, but have it be aggressive, but don't be a jackass. That's all.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Just don't be on the wrong side of that line.
Yep. So, Timmy, how long would you follow up?
I mean, it depended with everybody. There is a degree of feel, felt, found in there, which I know it's probably not the right answer you're looking for, but you know, you kind of know when it starts to extend out to weeks, and then, you know, maybe 5 weeks, and then maybe 6 weeks, and you haven't gotten anything, like you're probably dead in the water. If there was a due date, that even if you sent the proposal and there was a due date and that person didn't make that meeting or what have you, I would get after that immediately. So like day 1, call and email. Day 2, call. Day 3, email. Day 4, call and email. Right. So like in that first week, I'd be super aggressive, but not in a just a, hey, just checking in way, right? Like not like, hey, where the hell are you? Just want to see what's going on. And then they would go from every day to maybe 2 times that next week, and then maybe once the week after that, and then maybe 3 times a week after that, and once the week after that. So and also try reaching out to people at different times a day.
Oh, that's a good one, Timmy. That's a really good one. That's a big one. You know, if you try in the morning, next time try in the evening.
Yep.
Right. Try them right before hours. You know.
Yes.
I will say on my side, for my KPIs on this one, for being ghosted, if I don't have any new steps sent back to me, right? If they haven't responded back to me in the 4 weeks post they were supposed to, the deal is now been moved back into the prospecting folder. Right. They have 4 weeks to reply back to me with something new to do. If they don't do it within the 4 weeks, then they're back in the prospecting folder. Now, that doesn't mean that they're out. It just means that they're no longer considered to be in my pipe, right? In my sales funnel. And if they do respond to me, it has to be within 2 months. All right. So if they say, I can't do it until after vacation season. So let's readdress this in 7 weeks. I'm okay, right? That's still in my pipe. That's real. But if they say next quarter, that's out of your pipe. That's back into prospecting. You lost them somewhere.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed with that. So
good stuff. Well, I think we're heading into the end of our time for today. I'll
Sure.
throw it out to the two professors, man. Anything else you want to add on this, on this subject? Anything you haven't covered? Because I think you've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add is, look, everything we just talked about is assuming on-site meetings. We're still in this weird time where depending on where you are in the country, people are generally out of lockdown now, but still people are reluctant in some areas to have on-site meetings. So a lot of what we just said, if you're in an area that is predominantly virtual with their meetings, unfortunately, sometimes there's no way around sending a proposal by email these days. But what I would say is, if you have that proposal meeting set up, don't send in, let the prospect know that, hey, prospect, we're going to have the proposal meeting on this day and this time.
Mhm.
I will be sending you that proposal when the meeting starts. Don't send it before.
Oh yeah.
Do not let them look at that without you in front of them.
Yeah. I would never let them control a proposal like that ever,
Yeah.
not until after the meeting. I agree 100%, Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it for us for today, fellas. Any other thoughts, Brian?
No, none on my end. I think you guys captured everything. So why don't you
okay.
take us home, Rob?
Sure. Chad, I really appreciate you, shooting over this email. I appreciate the back and forth and allowing us to kind of, put you on the microscope here. And I hope this information helped. Chad, if you have any other questions, please let us know at mspbusinessschool.com. We would love to help you out. And for anybody else who has any deals out there that, they're kind of feeling like it's not going the way that they want, and they want a little bit of guidance, please give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We won't use your last name or your business. We'll just call you Chad. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Brian, Tim, all the best.
Take care, guys.
Thanks. All right, bye.